Sega does not care about 99% of their IPs. I could try to list all of them that they've forgotten over time, but Sega would have to drop the hottest YouTuber apology video of all time just for the community to forgive them.
I've made a severe and continuous lapse in my judgment.
They are the type of guy that you'll see at the pub on occasion. You know, maybe one time that they'll bring you over a nice pint of Guinness. You know, oh, that's pretty nice, right? Next time that you see them, they'll tell you not to go in the toilet they've just used because they've just carpet bombed the shit out of that thing and there ain't no way you're going in there without a gas mask and surviving. Today, I'm going to be talking about the one Sega IP that I miss the most. And not only do I believe that the world has forgotten about this truly iconic Sega IP, but I think Sega has as well. Fellas, let me tell you today about the game that I miss. The boy that lived. The egg that cracked. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg. Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg released globally in 2003 and was developed by... Hold on, let me Google this shit. Oh, Jesus, fucking hell, that's rough. Despite the name, Sonic Team hasn't just developed Sonic games over the years. They've been developing a plethora of video games such as Knights and Space Channel 5, Phantasy Star Online, of course, who can forget that? But at the end of the day, they're obviously well known for their Sonic games, for better or for worse. Now, Billy Hatcher on the surface may just seem like your typical 3D platforming game. You know, we've played a ton of them at this point. What's come out previously? Super Mario Sunshine, Tide of Tasmanian Tiger. We've seen a bunch of them by this point, right? Now, what makes Billy Hatcher different is that it's packed with these beautiful open zones to explore, and you roll around these eggs that hatch these creatures. And you may be thinking, well, Sega's kind of done the whole egg thing before. They had it with the chows, you know, that they came out into play. But in Billy Hatcher, there's 73 different eggs for you to hatch. Because the game is packed full of them, you never really know what you're going to get out of these eggs unless you kind of had the guidebook like I did as a kid. Yeah, you may be wondering, well, what can I get from these eggs, Job? Well, you can get Cypher. I'll probably have them on screen somewhere here. Cypher, you can get Clippin', and of course you get Gorilla. I'm gonna love the Gorilla, dude. So, beautifully crafted areas, 4-player local co-op, which we'll talk about in a second, and Gorilla. What more else could you want? You might be asking, well, Jerb, you're bigging this game up. You're acting like it's the best game of all time. Did I mention that you could hatch? You can hatch Sonic the Hedgehog, Tails, Knuckles, Knights, Amigo from these eggs? How fucking insane is that? If that happened in this day and age, the internet would have blown up with lore. This shit would have been all over Reddit saying, oh my god, Sonic just hatched from an egg. New lore just dropped. This game was born in the wrong generation. Matt Pat would have had several videos out by now. With all that being said, I had a lot of fun with this game as a kid and as an adult, because I'm 26 years old now. This game came out 19 years ago. I was playing this when I was, you know, exploring the world for the first time. Now, I didn't really originally have this in this video script, and I only discovered it through a little bit of research that I was doing kind of after the script. But this game, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, was originally planned to be a multiplayer game, and Yuji Naka stated that, you know, they kind of ditched that idea at the last minute, but they still included a multiplayer mode in this game, which is 4-player local co-op. There's a timed mode, get most points, blah blah blah. A Hatchables mode, I think it's called. Get as many creatures as you can. But the third mode that you get in the multiplayer mode is stocks. Yeah, like Smash. There's a stock mode, 3 stocks, fight to the death. Holy shit, why did they not have that at Evo? Why did they not have that at Genesis? Just remember, kids, enjoy Ultimate whilst you can. When you're an adult, Billy Hatcher and the Giant Egg, get into that competition as soon as you can. I'm going to be on that stage at Evo, at Genesis. I will see you there. So, let's go see how the game did, eh? Shit. Needless to say, the game flopped hard. In Britain, we fucking loved it, apparently. The game was nominated for the first ever British Academy Video Game Awards, which I didn't know even existed, but it was there with Metroid Prime, Wind Waker. You know, to be nominated with those two giants, that's a pretty big honor. I mean, Billy Hatcher didn't win it. You know, it'd be pretty disrespectful to those two games, but generally speaking, it was a commercial bomb. only sold 250,000 sales worldwide, which doesn't sound like a lot these days, but even back then, that wasn't a lot of copies sold. I mean, just to put it into comparison, the Tasmanian Tiger, which is the same genre, it came out a year before, brand new IP, that sold 1 million copies worldwide. So you can't really blame Sega for setting their expectations kind of higher when releasing Billy Hatcher and a Giant Egg. So like I mentioned earlier, Billy Hatcher did have some appearances in some of Sega's other games, but this is, you know, we're talking ages ago now. It was in the original Sega All-Stars Racing. It was in Sonic Riders Zero Gravity, which, oh, that's a good game as well. Going back a second, Sonic and All-Stars Racing, the original one, that had Billy Hatcher. The second one, which I completely forgot about, didn't have Billy Hatcher, but do you know who it did have? Fucking Football Manager and General Winter. I didn't know who General Winter is. I'm sorry for any fans of General Winter out there. I went to look him up and I thought, oh, well, I'll just go onto the Sega All-Star Wiki and see what it says about him. It says this, General Winter. General Winter. And this picture to the side of him, I'm willing to bet that's not General Winter. Other than those two slight appearances, Billy Hatcher might as well be 6 foot under the ground. We have not seen him in any video game since Sonic Riders Zero Gravity. He made a brief appearance in the Archie comics, which some of those are really, really good. I'd definitely recommend reading them, but he hasn't been in a video game since then, and it's kind of disappointing, you know? And it's even more so disappointing when you realize that Sega hasn't just done this once. They are known for one and doneing a game, despite the potential that it might have. In fact, if your name isn't Sonic, Yakuza, Football Manager, or Persona, you're pretty much dead upon birth. So what does this all mean for Billy Hatcher? Considering it's Sega, probably nothing. But hope is never lost. And I like to think back to the case of Kid Icarus, which is a prime example of a game that can make comebacks despite the long wait times between games. Kid Icarus of Myths and Monsters and Kid Icarus Uprising are 21 years apart. The critics were generally favourable towards Myths and Monsters. Kid Icarus Uprising was an amazing game, and it got given another chance. So, Sega, please hear this community of this estranged game, because inside all of us, there's a Hatcher. You're a Hatcher. The person who handed me a Guinness at the beginning of this video, they're probably a Hatcher. And inside all of us, we are Hatchers.